All right, this is part 8 of my NFL predictions, and in this one, we've got the AFC West. This is the last part of my record predictions, but we still have one more video with my awards, which will be coming in the next couple days, definitely before the Sunday slate, though. But jumping right into this one, in fourth place, I've got the Raiders, finishing with a record of 5-12. Now, it was a disaster season for them last year. They paired up Derek Carr and Devontae Adams. They really thought it would work out, and they went 6-11. So I actually have them doing worse this year. They're moving on from Derek Carr, as we know. They brought in Jimmy Garoppolo, but I really don't think he's going to have a full season. I think he's going to end up getting re-injured. I don't want to be hoping on players' injuries, obviously, but just the way that the past couple of years of his career have gone, I don't think he's going to be playing the full season. They may have to move on to younger talent. And I would keep an eye on the Devontae Adams situation leading up to the trade deadline, because if he gets, annoyed and wants to win, and this Raiders team is nowhere close to winning, keep an eye out for him potentially wanting a trade, especially with the whole Chandler Jones situation, posting on Instagram that he didn't even want to play for the Raiders anymore. He was not at practice today due to a personal matter, so things are already kind of blowing up in Las Vegas. The season hasn't even started yet. The O-line sucks. The defense, it's nothing. It's not good. It's not terrible, but they added some pieces. I think they brought in Marcus Peters this offseason, but is that really going to do much? Tyree Wilson, I'm a big fan of coming out of Texas Tech, but I think he can be good, but that's a young talent. It's not going to be a player that can completely turn this franchise around, so I'm not a big fan of this Raiders team. We'll see what they can do with Jimmy G, but I don't really think it's going to be that much. And moving into third place, I've got the Denver Broncos. Talk about another disaster season. The expectations of the Broncos going into last year were the ceiling was Super Bowl contender, and they ended up being one of the worst teams in the NFL. But they fired Nathaniel Hackett before last season even ended. They brought in Sean Payton, and Sean Payton is a coach that the second that they hired him, I thought that the floor for this team was 7-10. He just raises the floors of teams. That's what he does. Although that's what I have this team going. Obviously, it didn't raise the floor much enough. They have Javonte Williams back. Of course, he was one of the reasons why this team kind of went downhill. He didn't play basically all of last season. They improved the offensive line. They brought in Mike McGlinchey to be their starting right tackle. Probably overpaid him, though, to be honest. And they also improved the defense, and the defense was basically the only reason they had a couple wins last year. The offense was terrible, but the defense was somewhat capable of, playing in the NFL. The man that everyone's talking about, Russell Wilson, we'll see how he plays this season. If he can really bounce back from, his performance last year, by far the worst year of his career. And, we'll see what Sean Payton can do for this team. We've already seen him in a lot of reports, not in a good way. Already taking shots at the Jets, especially Robert Saleh. So, this Broncos team is going to be an interesting one to watch this year. Will it still be the head of memes, or will they actually put the league on notice? I feel like it's going to go one way or another for this team, whether I think it's either the Broncos are a playoff team, or they're practically back to where they were last year, which they don't want to be. So, but moving into second place, I've got the Chargers finishing 11-6. Now, this team made a couple big moves this past offseason. They brought in Kellen Moore to be the new offensive coordinator, a guy who can really stretch the field, something that I think that they should have done a lot more last season, especially with the weapons that they have. And now they bring in Quentin Johnston, who's a guy who can really stretch the field. You're adding that to Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, and this team can be really good. Brandon Staley, I want to throw out there, to me, is on the hot seat. I mean, if the Chargers miss the playoffs this season, you can basically kiss him goodbye. Even if they are a wild card exit, the Chargers may not, I don't think that they're going to keep Brandon Staley no matter what. I think that they're going to at least put some thought into it. We'll see what happens. It kind of depends how they go out, because if it's in some overtime thriller, probably not. But if it's the way they went out last year, blowing a 27-0 lead to a team who shouldn't really even have been in the playoffs, he may be gone. So, we'll see what happens. But if this team can hit their ceiling, they can really be Super Bowl contenders. They can compete with the Chiefs to win this division. And last year, I actually had the Chargers winning this division over Kansas City. We all know that didn't end up happening. But like I said, the ceiling of this team can be Super Bowl contenders, and the floor can be missing the playoffs. I mean, this team can really go either way, and I wouldn't be too surprised, because Justin Herbert doesn't have a great reputation when it comes to late in the season. But we already talked about the offense. The defense now was improved. They brought in Eric Kendricks to have that, to be in the middle of that field. We know that they have Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack on both sides of the edge rush, which is going to be a nightmare matchup for Tua and the Dolphins in week 1. I'm not looking forward to that defensive line. But in that secondary, J.C. Jackson had a really disappointing year last season. Maybe he can come back, and if he can be healthy, maybe he can have a big year. I heard from Ian Rappaport that J.C. Jackson is not on the injury report, so he'll probably be playing in week 1. If he can stay healthy, maybe he can have a bounce-back year. But cornerback 2, Asante Samuel, he really broke out last year. He had a really big year. I think he'll be doing the same this year. Hopefully not much week 1, though, against my Dolphins, but of course, moving into first place, I have the Chiefs repeating at 12-5. Now, in this notebook in front of me, I write down a couple notes for every single team, and I don't have a single thing written down for the Chiefs. It's just these Super Bowl teams, right? The teams that win the Super Bowl the year before, I don't know how to predict them. I mean, last year, I really thought I was doing a good job predicting the Rams because they extended Aaron Donald, they extended Cooper Kupp, they extended or restructured Stafford's contract. They brought in new pieces, and I really thought that the Rams were set up to go back-to-back, and of course, I think they finished with the worst record out of any teams like in NFL history who won the Super Bowl the year before. Now it looks like they're going into a full rebuild, right? So I don't think I don't think that's going to happen with the Chiefs. That doesn't happen with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. I think the Chiefs are going to be right back competing, but if they're not, because also going back a couple years ago, the Chiefs just won the Super Bowl also before last year. They won it in 2020. And then in 2021, I think they were eliminated in maybe the AFC Championship game, I want to say. Maybe it was the divisional round. I'm kind of blanking. But the Chiefs were just back competing the year after they won the Super Bowl, and it wasn't a whole situation with the Rams where they missed the playoffs and it was not even close. So, I think that the Chiefs are going to be back. Will the Chargers win this division, though, if the Chiefs, have a little down year? I think it's definitely possible, and I wouldn't be surprised, like I said. The Chargers can really put their pieces together and contend with the Chiefs in this division. But if the Chiefs really are clicking like they were last season and, they don't have any post-Super Bowl, disease or anything like that, then the Chiefs should be right back on top of this division, which is basically where they belong. But yeah, man, I mean, those are my NFL predictions. That'll wrap that one up. I have one more video coming with the award predictions, probably tomorrow, Thursday, before the season opener. And then my week 1 predictions will be coming on Friday. And then Dolphins versus Chargers preview will be coming Saturday afternoon. I am so excited to record that video. But either way, that'll wrap up. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a great day. Peace.